you gave her some?
I gave her money.
Money because you were living there.
Yes.
Because her defense is, it wasn't security deposit. I paid the security deposit when I lived there. It was rent. That's your defense to that part of it.
Yes, ma'am.
Sounds like rent to me. Doesn't sound like security deposit. Security deposit is what you give a landlord when you first move in to make certain that you don't create any damage in excess of what the security deposit is, so you give them some money. But rent is rent. Now, how much did you give her?
I gave her $1,790 to the landlord.
Okay. And that was to catch her up in rent for a month?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how many months did you live there?
I lived there from August until February 22nd when she illegally evicted me.
And how much did you pay per month in rent?
I was paying $895 a month in rent.
Okay, so what you're really saying is you didn't have a security deposit. When you first moved in August of 2016, you caught her up a month in rent.
No, our agreement was, Your Honor, was that she was a month behind in rent. She was getting ready to lose her house. She was getting ready to be evicted. I've got the warrant and debt paperwork right here from the courthouse. And she was getting ready to be evicted, so what she said was, your house has been condemned. You can no longer live in your house. Would you have a problem with you moving into my house, catching up on my July rent? Upon you either leaving the house and getting your own home or me running the lease out, I'll return the $895 for July back to you.
Just a second. That's not security deposit. What you're saying is, sir, if you loaned her the money, when you move out, she'll give the money back to you that you paid to catch her up on the last month's rent. Is that what you're saying to me?
She explained it was a security deposit. That was Vanessa's exact words, that it was a security deposit.
Well, it's not a landlord's security deposit, but in actuality, you loaned her the money to pay for the month's rent that she was delinquent for the month of July.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next part of your complaint is that you want prorated rent because you had a kerfuffle with the defendant on the 22nd of February. The police were called and you were escorted out.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
And at that time, she issued a restraining order that kept you out of the house. You could only come back and pick up some items. You could not pick up other large items that you brought into the house, like electronics and furniture. That's the final part of your complaint. So would you, Ms. Sandy, tell me why on February 22nd you had the plaintiff removed from the house?
I had him removed from the house due to, he was very abusive.
Abusive is a conclusion. I would like you to tell me what he did. Stop playing with your papers. It's making me nervous.
He was removed due to...
Not he was removed due to. That's a conclusion. What did he do?
He threatened me.
What did he say to threaten you?
That he would harm me if I kicked him out, and I'm like, you can't kick me out of my own home.
Okay, so there was a fight going on.
Correct.
So you said to him, get out.
Yes.
He said to you, I'm not getting out. I pay rent here.
Yes.
You said to him, you will get out.
Yes, because of the simple fact is I've got a letter stating that he was evicted on February the 1st.
Just a second. He was evicted, which means that you weren't getting along for a while.
Correct.
Okay. He was evicted on February 1st by your landlord.
Correct.
He paid rent for February.
For February, he did not.
Well, he's going to show me a check. I'm sure he's going to show me a check.
Yes, Your Honor, I sure am.
All right, let me see. You want to make sure?
Yes.
I don't like to waste my time.
Yes, I would like to see that.
Okay. I'd like to see the check.
And included with that is my bank statements as well. You'll look on my bank statements, you'll see the highlighted deposits that were put into my account to pay for said money.
Just a minute. So I have one money order for $200.
Yes.
And that was Bird. Tell me what the date is here, would you please?
Could you bring it just a little closer?
What?
Could you bring it just a little closer?
Well,
I just 8/9,
well, 8/9, but I was looking something over here. No, it doesn't say.
No, it does.
Where?
Isn't that it right there? August 9th,
2016. Perfect. So that he paid that to the landlord, and then he paid again $795 for rent, and then he paid February 2nd, 2017. I have a check for $895.
No, that was actually my money, because I gave him the money to put into his account to get a money order from his bank.
Now that's, listen to me, that's slick. So you gave him money to put into his account, and at the same time you complained to the landlord and you wanted him evicted.
Yes. It was actually prior
just a second.
to...
I'm finding that difficult, Miss Sandy. I'm finding it difficult that you went to the landlord to have him evicted, and at the same time, I'm going to find that he paid February's rent. Simple. He paid February's rent. Okay, so you had a fight. You said get out. You wanted him out for a while. and you're not getting along, Mr. Williams. It's clear that you aren't getting along. Why didn't you leave?
Yes, but that's not exactly what happened. That's not at all what happened, to be honest with you, Your Honor.
I mean, between February 1st, when she's going to show me that she had gone to the landlord and schmoozed the landlord, and the landlord gave you an eviction notice because she didn't feel comfortable with you there anymore, whatever reason. Did you and Miss Sandy share the same room?
Yes, we shared the same room.
February 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th?
All the way to the 22nd.
Did you share the same bed?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
Is that correct?
Correct.
So let me understand this. He paid the rent for February. You spoke to the landlord February 1st to have him evicted.
Correct.
And you continued to sleep with him.
I had nowhere else to go. I mean, it was my home, so...
Is there not a couch?
Actually, there was somebody living with us at the time, so no, ma'am, there was not.
Who was living with you?
His friend, Joe.
No, there was somebody named Justin that was there that she had moved in.
You have a friend, Joe, who was living with you?
No, my friend Joe at that time was in Indiana, Your Honor.
So far, you owe him $895, Miss Sandy. Now, Mr. Williams, what items of furniture, large items, because the police escorted you out, what items of large furniture can you demonstrate to me that you purchased? Miss Sandy says that you purchased certain items together.
No.
You left them there, and therefore they belong to her. That's your answer.
Correct.
So let's go through some big items, and don't tell me about a Monopoly set or a diffuser. Just tell me about things that made it worthwhile for me to go to law school.
What was left at the property that I've included in my small claims findings is a 50-inch Samsung 4K TV. I paid $900 for
Just
it.
50-inch TV.
Samsung.
$900 for it. On what date, sir?
It was 2015, and then in 2016, while we lived together in August, I purchased another additional 50-inch Samsung smart TV.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Where is his 2015 TV?
The one that he is referring to, we bought together.
Show me the receipt.
I don't have the receipt.
Where is the 2015 TV?
It's not actually a 2015 TV. It was actually used. We bought off of Facebook, off of Marketplace. We paid $325 for it.
Your Honor, the TV that she's referring to, I bought it from a friend of mine named Brian who runs Dinwiddie Classifieds. I actually paid $320 for the television. I had $300 cash in my pocket, and I have the receipt for it right here.
Your Honor, that's the one he purchased with an ex-girlfriend by the name of...
Just a second. I don't care who he purchased it with. Where is it?
He's got it.
She doesn't have it. Next!
All right. I had a Polk sound bar that I bought at H.H. Craig. It's a speaker bar that goes underneath your television.
You know what he's Be careful what you say to me. Do you know what he's talking about?
Yes, that I purchased on a gift card that he would give me as a gift.
Did not give her that as a gift, Your Honor. I bought a $1,000 bed at H.H. Craig the month before, and they gave me a $200 gift card, and we went to H.H. Craig, and I actually bought...
They're his. He's going to come and pick them up. Okay, speakers.
It's not speakers, it's just a sound bar.
Sound bar. Whatever it is, he's coming to get it. What else?
I had a $1,000 carpet cleaner, commercial grade carpet cleaner manufactured by Kent that was actually stolen off the front porch while she was subject to a protective order against me.
Take it up with the thief. What's next?
Well, that's actually included on there. I had a rock band drum set that was stolen from her property.
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to tell me what Miss Sandy has in her home that you are claiming ownership of.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I understand that.
Not that's in the wind, not that somebody stole. What she has in her home that you can prove that you purchased.
Yes, ma'am. I have a Mopar M1 Dodge intake from a race car that was never returned to me. That was left. It's an intake. You know what a carburetor is? It's what the carburetor sits on top of, and it actually bolts to the motor. It allows air to go down into the combustion chambers.
And what are you going to do with that?
I race race cars semi-professionally.
Your Honor, I have pictures showing what he's left in the yard. I have no idea what he's talking about with this intake system. I have pictures showing what he left in the yard.
Do you know where the intake valve?
No.
Next. All right, so far she owes you a sound something which you can pick up in $895.
I had a 10-gallon tropical aquarium fish tank with tropical fish that was in it.
You know I went to school for 7 years?
Yes, ma'am. I'm fully aware he went to law school.
Let's move on.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You were on her property.
I was not on her property. I was in her neighbor's driveway.
Doing what?
I was there because Miss Sandy had actually posted on Facebook, "Good luck finding me, you stupid."
Oh, can I see that this is something interesting for somebody who's frightened?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Robert Williams says ex-girlfriend Vanessa Sandy owes for the return of rent personal belongings and for a false restraining order.
Next.
Okay. I had an American Fender Stratocaster that was taken from the house that she never returned to me. I have text messages, her claiming that she put it in a storage unit. When I got the key to the storage unit, my guitar was nowhere to be found, along with the intake and all the other items that I'm getting ready to name off.
Where's his guitar?
I have no idea what he's even talking about.
Okay. All right. Now, we have 1 week's rent.
Your Honor, he is
February.
Actually on probation for perjury.
Your Honor, that's not true.
Listen to me. I looked at the checks. You owe him $895 for bailing you out of July's rent that you didn't pay.
I wasn't
Just
behind.
a second.
No, not July.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
I wasn't. My mother can vouch for
Well,
that.
I wouldn't, just a second. I wouldn't believe you and I wouldn't believe your mother because it's too crazy a story to make up.
Your Honor, I also have a countersuit against him as well.
We're not finished yet. So far, you owe him $1,218. That includes a week's worth of rent for February and that soundboard, which he will arrange to have picked up 5 days from today with a neutral party, unless you want to drop it off someplace.
I don't even have it anymore.
Oh, how much did you pay for it?
I paid $300 for that, and I paid...
Then sorry. So you owe him $1,518. Now we'll get to your counterclaim. Money for actually doing to filing a false restraining order, baloney, because I didn't entertain his, I'm not entertaining yours, and for harassment and stalking.
Correct.
Okay, now I'm all ears.
I moved from Hopewell to get away from him in March. And
March of 2017.
17, yes. Nobody knew where I lived except...
Well, don't tell me what nobody knew.
You lost your deposit.
Don't.
I'm sorry, the house, Your Honor, the house was in my name.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
I don't care. I don't want you to shout.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shout.
You moved out of the house in March of 2017.
Correct.
Okay, and you moved with whom?
I moved in a house with my mother. My mother is on my lease.
Oh, so you found a new place.
Correct.
And you have children?
Correct.
How old?
My daughter is 7 and my son is 4.
Are they both with you?
Correct.
So you moved in with your mother with your 2 children?
Correct.
Okay. And where are you working?
I'm a manager of Shell gas station.
Is that near where your mother is?
Yes.
How long have you been there? For a year?
No, I just recently got there.
And where were you before?
Fort Lee.
So you had the same job until recently, and then
Yes.
you left that job for
Yes.
some reason? Why?
Due to personal reasons at work.
Okay. Now, the incident happened with the plaintiff in February of 2017. You moved in March. You moved in with your mother and your 2 children. Stalking, harassment.
I got him
3
for
months.
trespassing. He showed up on my property. I don't know how he found out where I lived. I've got evidence showing the trespassing charge that I brought out on him.
What happened when he came to your property, and when did he come to your property?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
For somebody who's afraid, that's pretty nasty language that you're
Can I
using
see
to him.
those?
Yeah, sure.
Because if it's what I think it is, it's on his brother's Facebook that I said this.
I don't care where it is that you
Doesn't
said
matter
it.
where you said it.
Shh up.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Robert Williams has accused ex-girlfriend Vanessa Sandy of owing for the return of rent, a security deposit, and personal belongings. He is also suing for a false restraining order.
What happened when he came to your property, and when did he come to your property?
He came to my property May of 2017.
And you moved in with your mother in March.
Yes.
Could you stop playing with all that paper?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm just trying to get my counter evidence together.
You have no counter evidence. So far, she owes you $1,518, period. And I'm finished with your case, so you don't have to play with your papers anymore.
Well, Your Honor...
Yep, just a second. So you don't have to play with your papers anymore. So pay attention, because now we're on her counterclaim. Now, between March of 2017, when you moved in with your mother, and May of 2017, when you saw Mr. Williams on your property, had he made any request to you for either property or money?
No.
I'm going to ask you the same question. You were on her property in May of 2017.
I was not on her property. I was in a neighbor's driveway.
A neighbor's driveway. Okay. Doing what?
I was there because Miss Sandy had actually posted on Facebook, "Good luck finding me, you stupid," to sue me to get your stuff back. And then,
can I see that, please?
Yes.
Oh, can I see that? This is something interesting for somebody who's frightened.
Miss Sandy had also posted I'm sorry.
Shh. Whose truck is this?
That's my brother's truck that disappeared from her house while I was subject to her protective order that she maliciously took out against me.
That was why
That's
we were
more of
in
a sentence
Hopewell.
than I needed.
That's why I was living in Hopewell.
For somebody who's afraid, that's pretty nasty language that you're using to him.
Those?
Yeah, sure.
Because if it's what I think it is, it's on his brother's Facebook that I said this.
I don't care where it is that you
Doesn't
said
matter
it.
where you said it. Sorry, Your
And
Honor.
I was talking to his brother about...
No, I read. I can read English.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
For somebody who's afraid, that's pretty nasty language that you're
Can I
using
see
to him.
those?
Yeah, sure.
I don't see
Doesn't
nothing
sound
wrong with
like,
that.
doesn't it actually, that posting by you doesn't sound like somebody who's in fear of her life. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,518. We're done.
Your Honor,
Thank
before
you.
we finish-
No, listen to me. Mr. Williams, I want you to listen to me carefully. We're finished.
I understand that, Your Honor, but I mean...
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next...
What was the disagreement about?
I don't really know. I guess she didn't want to really live there no more. It wasn't going her way, so she had to go.
So he showed her the door.
He grabbed me by my dress, so I told myself that that was it and that I was just going to leave with the clothes on my back.
Do you have any of her property?
No, I don't have nothing.
He threw it in the trash. He told me he threw it away.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. 25-year-old Mitrice Youngblood is suing her ex-boyfriend, Dante Miller, for the return of property, lost wages, and an assault.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 536 on the calendar in the matter of Youngblood versus Miller.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Youngblood, how long did you and the defendant live together?
A year and a half.
And did you move into his apartment? Did he move into your apartment? Or did you move in together?
I moved into his apartment.
What kind of an apartment is it?
Regular one-bedroom,
What was the rent on the apartment?
$1,000.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Miller?
Loan officer.
And you?
I'm a kindergarten teacher at Rainbow Children's Academy.
Before you moved in with Mr. Miller, with whom were you living?
With myself, I was away up north at school.
So you were...
My sister and we didn't get along. I felt like she didn't do enough. And since it wasn't my house, my mom felt that it wasn't my place. So she told me to go. I was grown and to live on my own.
Well, that sounds better than she kicked me out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It sounds better. So you weren't getting along with your sister, and your sister is how old?
She's 18.
And you are?
25.
So your mom said, you're a grown person. I can't live with this fighting and this bickering and this arguing.
Correct.
You're all grown up. You have your college degree. Go get a job. Live on your own.
Correct.
That's actually not kicking you out. That's saying, I don't want to listen to the two of you fighting anymore. She's still not fully cooked. You are. Go find a place. Anyway, do you speak to your mom?
Yes. Her birthday was yesterday.
Great. So you're in touch with her.
Yes.
She would like it better that you didn't say she kicked you out. She told you, spread your wings and fly and go find your life.
Right.
Instead. Okay. So you moved in with Mr. Miller.
Yes.
And you had a job.
Yes.
I gather from the papers that you had some sort of a disagreement, and that disagreement was about rent.
No, I've never had a problem with paying rent.
What was the disagreement about?
I don't really know. I guess she didn't want to really live there no more, you know, and we were arguing.
Well, but you said in your answer to me, sir, I mean, I didn't make it up. You said in your answer we had a pretty big fight in December over her not paying rent.
Yeah, we had a lot of arguments over that, but that wasn't the reason. It was just misunderstanding.
You mean last month?
In December.
But she
didn't
stayed
stay
until March.
No.
Can I speak, Your Honor?
Yes. When did you leave?
I left in December, but I came back. I went back with my mom, and then I went back to him because my mom told me that I needed to flourish. So I went back to his house.
When?
I left December. I went back February, early February, and I stayed.
For how long?
Until March 15th.
Okay. When you had this argument in December,
yes.
I would have assumed you took all your stuff with you because you were there in your mother's house December and January and part of February. So you were gone for 2.5 months. So I assume you took everything that you needed.
Yes.
And you didn't pay him any rent for that 2.5 month period because you said I never had problem paying rent. But I assume once you went back to your mother, you didn't pay any rent.
Well, I gave my mom money.
You didn't give him any money for rent in December when you left or January or February.
December, I gave him him rent, guaranteed. January I did not. February I didn't, but March I did.
Okay, so January and February you did not.
I did not.
So I assume you took all your stuff with you, because otherwise you would have abandoned your stuff. He doesn't have to keep your stuff.
When I went back to him in February, I took all my stuff back to his house. That's what I'm getting at.
What stuff did you take back?
My clothes, my makeup, everything that I need to thrive in society.
Okay, very good. So you took all your stuff back, and how did you get it back to him?
Actually, he helped me pick my stuff up. He picked me and my stuff up.
In his car?
In his truck.
And what did you bring? Suitcases?
Like tubs of clothes and bags and stuff. Yes.
So after you had this fight in December, you called him and said, my mom is telling me to go again. Could you come and pick me up? He was very accommodating. According to you, he picked you up sometime in mid-February, came to pick you up, brought his truck, you packed up your things, and you went back to his house. So
Correct.
he was very accommodating, even after the big fight you had in December.
Correct.
Okay, so that was nice. Now it's March. You want to tell me what happened in March?
He came home drunk early March one night, and he wanted to have sex, and I didn't want to have sex. So he grabbed me. I have my pictures of it. He grabbed me by my dress and just was being aggressive. So I told myself that that was it. That was the final straw, and that I was just going to leave with the clothes on my back and take 2 weeks off of work so that I can get myself together, because I have to be healthy to deal with kids. I have to be happy. They feed off of me.
Just a second. That's TMI. Too much information for me. So you said, I have to leave. I don't want to do this anymore. And you left.
Yes, with just the clothes on my back.
And where did you go?
I checked into the hospital.
Okay, you weren't injured.
No, I wasn't injured.
You checked into the hospital because you were upset.
I was upset. Correct.
And how long did you stay in the hospital?
For 3 days.
And when you were in the hospital, did your mother come to see you?
No.
Did anybody come to see you?
He did. And I asked him.
Now, the only way he would have known that you were in the hospital is if you called him.
Correct.
So you called him.
Correct.
And you called him and said, I'm in the hospital.
And to drop all of my stuff at my grandparents' house.
You said actually more than that, because you told him what hospital you were in. You didn't just say, I want nothing to do with you, take my clothes and bring them to my grandparents' house. You said, I'm in such and such a hospital, I'm upset, and I checked myself in.
Right.
And he came to see you.
Correct.
How many times did he come to see you?
I believe twice.
And you were in the hospital for 3 days?
Yes.
Then what?
Then I told him to take all my property to my grandmother's house, because he had my phone, he has my driver license, he had everything. So I asked him to take that stuff to my family house, and he refused. I had to call him over and over and harass him to take my stuff. And he ended up taking my stuff, but he only took what he felt like he wanted me to have. Like, I didn't have my work clothes, I didn't have my makeup, and I love my makeup.
Do you have any of her property?
No, I don't have nothing. I gave her jeans, clothes.
He doesn't have any of your property?
Shoes, bras.
Miss Youngblood, he has nothing of your property.
He threw it in the trash. He told me he threw it away.
He has nothing of your property. Sounds to me as if he tried to do the right thing and that you were going through a difficult emotional period. What?
I did the best I could. I gave her all her stuff. I mean, I bought her some stuff.
Listen to me carefully. If it doesn't look like you're losing, shut your mouth. Do you understand? Sounds to me as if she was having a difficult period and you did a reasonable thing. She was in the hospital, you came to visit her twice, packed up the stuff, gave it to her. I assume that the things that you didn't turn over to her were things that you bought for her. Is that what you started to say when you opened your mouth when you shouldn't have?
Yep.
Yep is not an answer. Yes is the answer.
Yes.
Yes. Like what?
Shoes.
Okay, so you didn't give her shoes.
One pair of shoes.
Okay, one pair of shoes. I didn't go to law school and do 7 years of postgraduate work for a pair of shoes. What else?
That's it, really.
Okay, we're done. Miss Youngblood, it's over. It's over. It's finished. Move on with your life. Are you living alone now, or are you back with your mom?
I'm living alone.
Good.
Do you want to see the evidence?
No. I want to see nothing. We're done.
How does that excuse you may step out?
Everything turned out the way it was supposed to. We still friends. Love hers. Gotta go try harder. No, everything's good.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ward versus Knoll. Step forward.
Catherine Ward is suing her neighbor, Elliot Knoll, for damage to her fence caused by his tenant's horses.
Ms. Ward, according to your complaint, you and Mr. Knoll own property that is adjacent to each other.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
And Mr. Knoll, according to what I read, you don't live there, but you rent it to people who keep horses. It is Ms. Ward's claim that the horses that are kept on your property have done damage to her fence. How long have you owned the property, Mr. Knoll?
Since 2012.
And how long have you been there, Ms. Ward?
2010.
When did these renters move in with their horses?
October 1st, 2016.
Prior to that, who was living there?
They don't live there, Your Honor.
They just use the land for their horses?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I would like you to tell me how these new tenants who have been there since October of 2016 on his property have damaged your fence.
Okay, when I moved there in 2010, I fenced and cross-fenced my 3 acres. On the other 3 sides of my property, the fence is not damaged. On this particular property line, the fence has become so damaged that it's bubbled in sections. There's 2 to 3 feet of erosion taking place.
So you're not suggesting that he did anything or his tenant did anything to purposefully damage that 1/4 of the fence that you put in on your property?
No.
That whatever damage was done by virtue of, and you're going to show me, by virtue of the horses grazing too close to the fence. Is that correct?
That's correct, as well as the ignorance of how to feed and pasture horses correctly.
Well, do you feed and pasture horses?
My 1 horse, yes, I do.
Well, that's 1 horse. And 1 horse does not an expert make. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, good. So whatever damage you are alleging is alleging as a result of horses grazing. Okay. Now, do you have pictures of what the fence looked like in 2016 when these tenants moved in?
No.
So the only pictures you have are current pictures?
Of current pictures that go back to 2017.
Okay. Now, you bought the property in 2010
Yes.
and you put up a fence. Do you have pictures of the fence when you put it up?
No.
So the only pictures that you have to show me are current pictures with the current tenant, and you have no information with regard to whose horses caused the damage to that property in photographs?
No.
Okay. Now I'll take a look at the pictures.
Here's a picture of the horse pushing, more damage.
Could I just see the pictures of the fence that you are complaining about?
That one.
Okay. And that's what horses do. What I'm asking you, sir, is I want you to take a look at this picture. And what the plaintiff is complaining about is that because the horses who are eating on your property are eating so close to the fence and pushing the fence, her dogs, which is why she fenced in the property, I assume, is able to get out from under the property. And it appears to me in this picture that that's as a result of there being no grass for them to eat except in her yard, which is what they're trying to get to. Is that what you're seeing? You can show us too.
I got some pictures too, and even that one, if you look at it, when you look at the pictures up close, as you can see in this picture, even the horse's nose is not under the fence.
Doesn't matter.
That fence, the first picture that I looked at, when you look at it closely, you can see claw marks where her dog has scurried underneath. And I got some really good pictures that indicate the fence is rolled towards my property.
Actually, that's exactly what I see in this picture.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I was discussing the matter with her. She had recently come into some money and offered to...
No, she would discuss the matter with her.
Yes.
That he needed a lawyer.
Yes.
I mean, you wouldn't say, well, he needs a lawyer. Go get a lawyer.
Right.
So I want to know what you said to her and what she said to you.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Catherine Ward says neighbor Elliot Knoll owes for damage to her fence caused by his tenant's horses.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have a Great Dane. And
okay, your Great Dane pushed this fence in towards his property.
No.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm looking at this picture, and I don't see how the horse pulled the fence onto his property. I'm telling you. Did you show her that picture, Bird? I'm looking at that picture, and there is no question in my mind that the fence was pushed in onto his property from your property. Now, that may have been as a result of the erosion on the other side. His horses didn't pull the fence onto his property. Your Great Dane pushed through the fence, which was made possible because they ate that close to the fence, so there was no natural barrier. And in a neighborly fashion, what you should do is, if you want to keep your Great Dane on your property, build a better fence. This word, build a better fence. He's not paying for a new fence. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I feel like justice was served. She's an emotional woman, Miss Ward is.
Well, I have to go with her judgment. I disagreed with it because the issue was really not the dog.
She's coming at us constantly over the years, and We just want it to stop, the harassment.
It was the damage on my property.
There's no problem. There's no real damage to the fence.
I will be taking down my fence.
She simply does not like the way the neighbors care for the horses.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ware versus Klinger. Step forward.
Jennifer Ware is suing her former friend, Katie Klinger, for an unpaid loan to hire a lawyer for her fiancé.
Miss Ware, the defendant is a very old friend of yours. You've been friends for a long time, and it is your claim that you made a loan to her. The total of the loan was $1,900. I don't believe that Miss Klinger denies that $1,900 passed between the two of you. She, however, says the $1,900 was a gift, and there was never any discussion of repayment in the form of a loan. Are we right? Okay. So, Miss Klinger, as long as there's no issue with regard to the money, I'm going to start with you and ask you, when Miss Ware gave you this money, month and year?
December 2017.
Tell me why.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'll pay back as much as I can with my tax check and otherwise. I'll be paying you when I'm able, but I won't leave you hanging.
That was after she was calling me constantly.
No, this was
and
just
you know, I just was, at that point, it was I would do anything.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jennifer Ware says former friend Katie Klinger borrowed $1,900 to pay for her fiancé's lawyer, and she has yet to pay it back.
I'm going to start with you and ask you, when Miss Ware gave you this money?
December 2017.
Tell me why.
My fiancé fell into some legal trouble, and we needed to retain an attorney.
So it was for a lawyer. Was it a civil case or a criminal case?
Criminal.
That's not something that Miss Ware would know unless you told her.
Right.
So tell me, did you have that conversation with her in person or on the phone?
In person. She was staying at our house when everything kind of came to a head, and we realized that we needed to get an attorney quick.
She was staying at your house on a visit, or?
Yeah, just as a visit.
For how long?
She was there for about a week.
So she was at your house, and?
And I looked on the My Case that I had at Gov and noticed that there were charges pending against him that could cost him his job. So I was discussing the matter with her. She had recently come into some money and offered to...
No, she had discussed the matter with her.
Yes.
That he needed a lawyer.
Yes.
And that you didn't have money for a lawyer.
Right.
And that he didn't have money for a lawyer.
Correct.
I mean, you wouldn't... She said, well, he needs a lawyer. Go get a lawyer.
Right.
So I want to know what you said to her and what she said to you.
I told her that it was Christmas time. I've got 3 children at the house. He was working, but we didn't have the means to come up with, you know, what this attorney needed up front to retain him to try and prevent the fallout of what would happen if he lost his job and so on. She told me that, you know, she had just gotten this money and that she would give us the money so that we could get his attorney and try to prevent all of these horrible things from happening.
And she did?
She did.
Right. And when for the first time did she ask you to start paying her back?
Probably January. She started questioning me about it.
January, she sent you a text.
Yes.
Okay, do you have a copy of that text?
I don't have it printed.
Do you?
I have all the text messages.
May I see it, please? So shortly after she advanced the money, she asked you for it.
Correct.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, so you promised to pay her back.
Yeah, I guess I kind
I'm
of
going to owe you big time. I'll pay back as much as I can with my tax check and otherwise. I'll be paying you when I'm able. He just should find work easy enough. Just don't know how much it'll pay, but I won't leave you hanging.
That was only after.
That was after she was calling me constantly and asking me for this money and... I just was, at that point, it was I would do anything.
What date was this?
That should be right after the deposit, so December 14 is the first time she promised to pay me. And
this was in December?
Yes. There's 5 more after that over the month of January where she promised to pay me back.
So this was in the month of December?
Yes. The last time she had...
Okay, and then in January 30th, you say, got my taxes filed, so you'll be getting some moolah in a couple of weeks, hopefully.
Correct.
That's again in January. So one is in December, then there's one in January, and then I may actually be able to give you more like $1,400 of it instead. That's also January 30th. So there's no question that you view this as a loan. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,900. We're finished. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I mean, what am I going to do? She obviously had... information that she was owed the money.
So what she said was, your house has been condemned. You can no longer...
her son and her former live-in boyfriend at odds.
He told me that Patrick Daly had hit him.
And then you waited a week, and what did you do?
I filed the restraining order.
But
what you really want to do is get him out of the apartment. What happened is you found a new boyfriend.
will her new man be any better?
Did your boyfriend wear an ankle monitor?
Correct.
Which means that he's watched by the police. It's getting bad for you.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinlin. This is Judge Judy. Patrick Daly and his son Sean are suing Sean's ex-girlfriend and their former roommate, Sherry Inglet, for the return of property and a false restraining order.
Order. All rise. It's case number 469 on the calendar, the matter Daly versus Inglet. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Daly, I'm going to start with you, sir. This is your son.
Yes, ma'am.
And your son and Miss Inglet lived together.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
How long did you live together?
3 years, Your Honor.
From when to when?
I'd say 2014 to 2016.
At some point, Mr. Inglet, you weren't well, and you moved in with your son and his girlfriend.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
When was that?
That was October of 15.
Also living there, you have children?
My 2 minor children.
How old are they?
My daughter is 11 and my son is 8.
What kind of work do you do?
Right now I'm a caregiver for the mentally disabled.
How long have you been doing that?
It'll be a year in April.
Prior to that, what were you doing?
I worked at Chuck E. Cheese as assistant manager.
And what about you, Mr. Daly?
I'm a supervisor for a security company.
And you, sir?
I'm a material handler at a warehouse.
So everybody's working?
Yes, ma'am.
And contributing to this rent?
Yes, ma'am.
And contributing to the house. So far, is that correct? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, then some trouble is brewing in River City, and sometime in May of last year, the two of you broke up.
Yes, ma'am.
As a couple.
Correct.
You thought it was best, but you decided, for financial reasons, it was a good idea to continue to live together.
And the sake of our children.
You have children together?
He has a daughter and I have 2, and they get along. They've been in their lives for a long time.
Well,
so we did it for
that's
them.
No, I don't think so. Sounds good, but I don't think so. Anyway, because what happened is you found a new boyfriend.
Correct.
And you're not a couple anymore, but you're still under one roof, and either one or both of you didn't like the boyfriend around. There was some indication in here that the boyfriend wore a monitor. Did your boyfriend wear an ankle monitor?
Correct.
Which means that he's watched by the police.
Correct.
And they didn't want him there, and they told you that. And then there were arguments about that. At some point, you secured a temporary order of protection from the courts, which removed both Mr. Daly's from the house.
Yes, ma'am.
On an ex parte basis, which means they weren't there in court when you got it. You made allegations about them, and the courts granted you an order, which I will see. I'm sure you have.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
So this is what your case is about. That she filed a false restraining order against you. The reason for that was all over this boyfriend, the kerfuffle over the boyfriend. So then the boyfriend had free access. By the way, are you still in the apartment or house?
Yes, I am.
You're still there. They're not there.
No.
Where's the boyfriend?
He lives in his apartment he's been living in.
Maybe.
Because he's not allowed there.
Maybe. I see you. Maybe. And also, they had some property that they want and attorney's fees. What attorney's fees? For the protective order?
Yes, ma'am. We had to hire an attorney because Sean, because of his firearm.
All right. So, Ms. Inglet, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
I want you to tell me the date, time, and place of the allegations that you told to the court when you sought a protective order. I want you to tell me about that incident.
It's been over our relationship.
Oh, it's getting bad for you. Getting bad. Okay, you've been together for 3 years. According to you, you've stayed in the same place because you have children who are about the same age. They've been in each other's lives. You wanted to stay together. All of a sudden, there was a need for a protective order. And what I'm saying to you is, I want the reason. So don't start out with, over the course of the relationship. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because it doesn't sit well with what you told me 5 minutes ago.